We have to go to the root. We have to go to the cause. Dealing with the condition itself is not enough.
Dear Mr. Massa, I'm just trying to mind my own business. What's the matter? It's just another day, another black king captured. I'm about to lose my brain, stuck inside this ghetto rapture. I got a lot of smoke. If you want it, you can have it. They want a hat trick, but this is black girl magic. Ain't talking about the kind that'll make you disappear, but I'm talking about the power of the melanin within. Ain't looking for trouble, but I'ma say this one time. I put 2 dukes up if you try to touch mine. We still want justice for Samir and Trayvon. You say you don't see color, but racism ain't blind. They targeting little kids whose skin look just like mine. So I'm paranoid, it's a war zone outside. And I'm a black queen, so if you ask me to step out of my car, you gon' have to snatch me. Cause I ain't going no damn well. Had to spend my whole life living unfair. Ancestors got my back and they right here. You can never understand, it's a nightmare. Living in my black shoes by the black rules. You can keep your handshake, I don't dap coons. The white man to go nuts if he can't shoot. But you all on his side like a damn fool. Make it make sense.
We are oppressed.
Queen.
We are exploited. We are downtrodden.
Make it make
Queen.
We are
sense.
denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation
Queen.
away from us or aside from us is come together
Queen.
against the common enemy. Who taught you to hate the texture of your
Ahmadiyyah.
hair? Who taught you to hate the color of your skin?
Ahmadiyyah.
Parents, pay attention to the books, the school system, even to your little children. Lies mixed with wisdom. His skin too bright, so he was blind to the prison. My skin just right, so I collide with division. You trying to pray to God, but we tired of religion. No savior saving, we got to save our savings. We used to pay miss, how we gon' make the slave rich? But who's to blame, and tell me why you complaining? We need a team effort just to rule the nation. Like a bad relationship, missing communication. We missing moderation. They're trying to get a poison to my population. No reparations. I'm getting tired of Satan.
We are oppressed.
I'm
Queen.
getting tired of waiting.
We are downtrodden.
Queen.
We are denied not only civil rights, but even human rights.
Ahmadiyyah.
So the only way we're going to get some of this
Ahmadiyyah.
oppression and exploitation.
Queen.
All in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't here for my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I won't always smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all in Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat.
This is the sound of Eric
It's a cut on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threat. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece, this time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans, and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen, why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X to my jeans and I got...
This is the sound of Image by...
All right, hello everyone. Thanks for tuning in once again to the original Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur show. I'm your host, Queen Ahmadiyyah Shakur, and this is your Saturday Vitamin. So as you're coming in, please feel free to go ahead and subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. Be sure to click that notification bell and click the word all so you're notified each time the Queen Goddess goes live. Also, if you don't like what the Queen is cooking, as per usual, kindly exit stage left and don't let the virtual doorknob hit you. Okay? So also, don't forget to follow me on Instagram at Dr._A_Shakur, TikTok at Dr. A. Shakur, and Twitter at DGoddess27. All right. And so we're about to get into this story of the Uber driver, which they're calling it the Uber driver scam. I'm sure you all have heard about it. If you follow my backup channel, you know that I reported on this days ago. And so we're here to talk about the update and the latest information. All right. Yusuf, you can go ahead and introduce yourself. I'm waiting to see what happened with Lisa. I'm going to turn my mic off for a minute. I think she fell off. Okay.
Well, shout out to the Royals. I'm on another channel again. But thank y'all so much for supporting the Queen for so long and so hard, because she's a real one. All right. And that was my jam. I was in the back chat breaking it down because that is my jam. Queen Ahmadiyyah, Dr. Queen Ahmadiyyah. Don't play that down. You are a doctor.
Thank you, beloved.
Thank you.
Okay, so AJ, can you hear us? Is your mic working? AJ? Okay, AJ was having some difficulties. He could hear us, but we can't hear him for some reason. And so hopefully we'll get that straightened out. So I'm going to go ahead and get into it. Give me just a second. I'm about to call Lisa real quick.
Mm-hmm. So these topics today, this is serious, and we're definitely coming from an open mind, and coming from an analytical mind. We definitely need to speak about this as a community. And so I really appreciate the opportunity and the forum to be able to do so. And, tell us how you feel, because we're going to be checking the comments periodically. So definitely share how y'all feel. And this is like my 6th panel over here with the Queen, and I miss it. It's been a while. We're long overdue for one of these, Queen.
Okay, right. Okay, so now Lisa said she got kicked off, honey. She said she got kicked off some kind of way, but she's coming back on. Okay, so for those of you, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to give a summary, just give some backstory to the case for those of you who are maybe not so familiar with it. Okay, and so now this is what came out yesterday. It says what we know about the shooting of an Uber driver in Ohio and the scam surrounding it. Authorities in Ohio say a man fatally shot an Uber driver because he wrongly assumed she was part of a scam to extract $12,000 in supposed bond money for a nephew. Now, it was a common scam that ended with an uncommon outcome, tragically in an Ohio driveway. William J. Brock fatally shot an Uber driver because he wrongly assumed she was part of a scheme. Okay, Lolita Hall was a victim of the same con, summoned by the grifters to Brock's house to retrieve a purported package for delivery. Now, what I want you all who are listening to pay attention to is how they're trying to make the fact that he was scammed his excuse or justification for what he did. Okay, so let me continue. Now, Brock later told investigators he believed Hall arrived to get the money the scammers wanted. He's now facing murder charges to which he pleaded not guilty. Hall's family is grieving, and Uber is helping investigators to try to catch whoever was behind the attempted swindle. Now, the grift is commonly known as a grandparent scam or fraud, exploiting older people's love for their family, according to experts. Now, callers claim to be anyone from grandchildren to police telling victims something terrible happened and that their younger relative needs money. So here's what we know about the shooting and the investigation thus far. Brock, 81 years old, received scam calls the morning of March 25th at his home in South Charleston, a town of about 1,800 people between Dayton and Columbus. Now, the calls regarded an incarcerated relative and turned to threats and a demand for money, according to a statement from the Clark County Sheriff's Office. Now, while Brock was on the phone, Hall got a request through the Uber app to pick up a package from Brock's house for delivery, according to the sheriff's office. Hall, age 61 of Columbus, was unaware of the attempted scam. So upon Upon being contacted by Miss Hall, Mr. Brock produced a gun and held her at gunpoint, making demands for identities of the subjects he had spoken with on the phone. Hall was unarmed and never threatened Brock or made any demands of him, according to the sheriff's office. Brock took Hall's cell phone and refused to let her leave, according to the sheriff's office. And when she tried to get back into her car, that's when Brock shot her. He shot her a second time and a third time during subsequent scuffles. Now, Brock then called 911 to report that he shot someone on his property who was trying to rob him. Police body cam footage shows him briefly discussing what he said had happened. And so that's what we're going to show you today, because this was just released, I believe, on yesterday. Okay, the body cam footage, not the footage from the woman who was the victim, not the footage from her dash cam, because we all have seen that, the ones of us who've seen the story, but they have the body cam footage. Okay, so says, I'm sure glad to see you guys are out here. Oh, okay. So that's what he's basically saying. I'll get into that in a minute. I'll just let you all see it. And so anyway, it goes on to say that Brock was indicted on Monday for charges of murder, assault, and kidnapping. He posted a $200,000 bail and was released from the Clark County Jail on Wednesday. His attorney, Paul Kavanaugh, did not immediately return an email seeking comment as of Friday. Grandparent scams have become increasingly common in the last 10 to 15 years. Now, this is in part because of the abundance of personal information available about people online, says Anthony Percanis, okay, who's a psychology professor at the University of California, Santa Cruz. And so criminals retrieve specific details about someone's relative on social media and use this information to convince victims that their loved one is in trouble. Okay, and they the person who's saying this information that works for the university, Percanis, his research includes fraud crimes. So he's an expert in that, saying basically what the criminal is doing is taking advantage of our human nature. You're in a panicked state, high emotional arousal. It's fear. It's a fearful appeal. And the best way to get rid of that fear is to give the criminal the money. Now, fraudsters typically prefer financial transactions that don't require physical proximity, such as wire transfers, gift cards, or cryptocurrency. Now, this case is unusual because the scammers deployed Hall as an unsuspecting money mule. Okay, they say most people in today's kind of scams don't really have interactions with the criminal. There's a distance. But when there isn't, there's an opportunity for the anger of being victimized to cause victims to take action. Now, I want you to pay attention to that statement. Let me read that again. They say most people in today's kind of scams don't really have interactions with the criminal because there's a distance. But when there isn't, there's an opportunity for the anger of being victimized to cause the victim to take action. So basically trying to give him an excuse. I want you to pay attention. That's what that sounds like. So they're trying to say that he was angry because he was upset about being victimized. Well, if he was angry, that woman had nothing to do with it. And still, you don't take matters into your own hands. But we know how some of these people do. Okay, so goes on to say Uber said on Wednesday that it was helping investigators look into an account that sent Hall to Brock's home. The ride-hailing company described Hall's death as a horrific tragedy. An obituary for Hall described her as a parent of a son and a stepson, a devoted member of her church, and a talented cook known for delicious pound cakes. She retired from Ohio's Regional Income Tax Agency and also worked in behavioral health at a school and for Uber. She studied horticulture at Ohio State and started a janitorial business. At a memorial service that was streamed online, her son Mario Hall spoke of how close they were, even though they lived in different states, often speaking on the phone multiple times a day, he said. And he also said that they had a bond like no other, saying, thank you for all your sacrifices and all the things you have instilled in me. You are the best mom that anyone could ask for, and I promise to continue to make you proud. Okay, so this is very sad. A family is grieving. It was all something that could have been avoided at the end of the day. It's something that absolutely could have been avoided as far as I'm concerned. And so it sounds like I told you, I'm trying to make excuses for this man's. Okay, there's Lisa. Let me add her back. Hey, Lisa. And let me add AJ.
Hello.
Can y'all hear me now?
Yes. Hey, at long last, beloved, we can hear you. Okay, so
Greetings.
Okay, greetings. Okay, so I just got through While I was waiting on you and Lisa, I just got through giving everybody background on the story. And Lisa and AJ, here's what they're basically saying. I don't know if you guys have read this yet, but so now as they're talking about the case, they're basically trying to talk about how these grandparent scams have been going on for the last 10 or 15 years, and saying that in some cases, the victims don't have any proximity to the people who are the scammers. But if they do, like in this case, the anger of the person who's being victimized can cause them to take action. So doesn't that sound like they're just trying to make that an excuse for why he was mad and shot that woman?
Yes.
Yeah, yeah.
Okay.
That's exactly what it sounds like. That seems to be the norm when it comes to one of us.
Exactly.
It seems to be the norm. They always seem to make up a story, and because they know the law, they know that a lot of these laws that are out here does not work in our favor,
Mm-hmm.
and they always seem to go into their laws and pull out something that to get people off when they unalive us the way they do.
Exactly.
Yes, and it's interesting that you say law, because that was one of the first things that came to my mind was the
Mm-hmm.
Casual Killing Act of 1669. It pretty much prohibited, well, it allowed any type of slave owner. The master was allowed to kill the slave who deemed that they were resisting arrest, or if it was in the sense of disobeying them or reprimanding them, disciplining them. If you beat them to death by chance, then oh well, because you were disciplining them. And
Yeah,
so that's what
mm-hmm.
it is. It's the same thing. And
Yeah,
it's
it
the same
is.
excuse cops make when they say they feared for their lives. But at least they say they feared as
Well,
opposed to got mad.
that's the same thing. That's the same thing that man said. He claimed that he feared for his life. So let's talk about it. Because if you fear for your life, why are you coming outside of your house with a gun? And then when she's trying to leave, you don't allow her to leave. Okay.
Right. That's
Yeah.
that part. That part.
Exactly.
Mhm.
Now, so I'm gonna play for everybody. Hold on. George says if the Uber driver looks like Dr. Ruth Westheimer, he would not have shot her. Exactly. We already know that, beloved. You're absolutely right. I absolutely agree. Okay.
Right.
So with that all being said, and let me warn everyone in the chat to watch your comments, because the ScrewTube will shadow ban you and take your accounts just for certain things you post. So I always want to say that when we're talking about such controversial topics. Okay, so with that all being said, yesterday or last night I saw where they had released the police body cam footage of basically what he was saying after this all happened, when he was talking to an officer. So I'm going to pull that up for everybody to see. And then we can share our thoughts on that. We'll start with Lisa and then go to AJ and then Yusuf, and then I'll be last. Likes up, everyone, please. Don't forget to like and share. Thank you in advance.
Queen.
Yeah.
The fact that they said that anger in the heat of that passion like that was justified is crazy, because we don't respond to them that way. We can control ourselves and try to figure out life. I don't know why they have to always choose violence.
Well, some people are just racist. That's the only thing I can think.
Period.
Deeply unsettling images that have horrified the country. The Ohio homeowner pointing his gun at a 61-year-old Uber driver who was simply there, authorities say, to pick up a package. Investigators say the homeowner had been duped by scammers who called him, and he thought the driver was in on it. But she had no idea what she was walking into. Tonight, the new and difficult images of what played out after he shot and killed her. 81-year-old William Brock, seen moments after he shot 61-year-old Lolitha Hall, telling Clark County deputies he had received a call from someone demanding $12,000 for bail money for a relative of his. It was a scam.
I've been on this phone for a couple hours with this guy trying to say he had a nephew in jail, had a wreck in Charleston, and just kept hanging on and needing bond money, and this woman was supposed to.
Authorities believe the same scammers targeted the Uber driver through the app, hiring her to pick up a package from Brock's home without telling her what they told him. That unsuspecting Uber driver was instead confronted at gunpoint.
Wow.
She attempts to get in her car to get to safety, but the homeowner prevents her from leaving, shooting her 3 times, then calling 911. She died from her injuries. In this newly released video tonight, you can hear a man believed to be the scammer calling the home again, right while investigators were there.
May I ask who I'm talking to?
Yes, this is the officer speaking.
Okay, what officer?
Yes,
No, I need to know what officer, sir.
you're going to be in trouble.
Okay. Let me ask you this. The female you sent over here, you know who she is?
Yes, I do.
Okay, well, she's been in an accident. And this is actually an officer. It's Detective Cruz with the Clark County Sheriff's Office.
And during that exchange, the alleged scammer agreed to meet with authorities, but never showed up. They have not been caught. Brock, who's been charged with murder, has pleaded not guilty. Alex Perez, ABC News, St. Louis.
Okay, so you all see that. So basically, they are saying there actually was somebody calling. Okay, well, like I said previously, even if somebody was scamming him, that doesn't make an excuse. Okay, Lisa, go ahead and share your thoughts, whatever you want to say about that.
Well, first of all, even if someone was scamming you, why wasn't his initial reaction to call 911? Why wait until after you gun her down and now you on the phone with 911 when you should have called them from the jump?
Right.
You know, while she was there saying, I came to get a package, and he's like, well, you're a scammer. I believe you're part of the scam. Why didn't you call 911?
Exactly.
See, I'm not buying his story.
Mm-mm.
I'm not buying his story. And, you know, like I had told you previously,
Mm-hmm.
yes, I believe people do buy guns for protection. I think that is something that has always been done.
Mm-hmm.
But there are a lot of these people like this Brock dude that will get guns just so they can be vigilantes out here.
Yes, I agree.
And that's what they look to do when they purchase a gun. We've seen other people do this. Hannah Payne was just on trial. She did that mess. You know, and there's a lot of examples. George Zimmerman. You know what I mean? A lot of these people will get guns and they will sit and wait until they have an opportunity to be a vigilante. And
That's
I really believe that is what William Brock did.
Mm-hmm.
I believe that's what he did.
I agree. What do you have to say, AJ?
There was so much wrong with that news report.
Mm-hmm.
I was over here about to jump out of my chair.
Okay.
Listen, let me tell you something. First and foremost, this shouldn't even be a debate about. We have him on camera, pointing a gun at her, literally following her as she is bagging away, trying to get away from him. And we know without a shadow of a doubt that he unalived her, that he pew-pewed her. Not only that, to hear the officer say that she's been in an accident.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? She was in an accident. That wasn't an accident.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? It wasn't an accident.
That's right.
He purposely did what he did. I don't know why it was looked at as an accident. And another problem I have is the media. The media is consistently spinning this narrative about this scam. It's not even about a scam. It's about a man with a gun that unalive a person that had no weapon, that was fleeing from him, bagging away from him, trying to get away from him, and they're still debating how they're going to view and look at this scam. So what they're doing is they're not only they're trying to show sympathy for the family of the lady that died, but they're also trying to give him sympathy as well. They're trying to make him a victim as well. And that's the problem I have. I have a problem with that.
Yeah, I definitely have a problem with that.
Me too.
Exactly. Go ahead, Yusuf.
Well, I'm disgusted. And like an accident, what accident? A casual K again? Another casual K on a regular day? That's all that is. And what threat? What threat? As everyone just said on this panel, why? Because we can all see. It's impossible to not see that the woman had her hands up, that the woman was backing up. She did not have no weapon. She posed no threat to no one.
Mm-hmm.
And so, like Lisa said, he took the law into his own hands because that's what they do. And a lot of them, when they call 911, it's attempted M word of a black person.
Yes.
That is attempted homicide of a black person.
That's
You're
right.
attempting to get us lynched. You know exactly what you're doing. You don't feel like getting your gun dirty and going downtown and doing the paperwork because you know they'll do the whole media circus for you. It's all together. They're wearing all these different costumes, controlling life on our planet. And I hate to take it there, but to me, it's a spiritual thing. This is a good and evil thing. They are completely being demonic when it comes down to this long history of racism and behavior towards this violence and terrorism towards us. It's just getting ridiculous. It's been ridiculous. The response for me is not always strong enough from not only them. I don't expect them to speak up for us and be on our side. They're not our media. But when it comes to our media, I feel like more of us need to be speaking up about these stories too. A lot of black people try to run and say like it's negative to have to face this type of stuff. Well, it's even harder for when it happens to the people and their families, you know, and that could be you. I want you to always understand that could be you. So, and the last thought, Queen, that the old ones is the ones that's the most racist. Mm-hmm. Because they've been here the longest. They miss seeing you whatever way they wanted to see you, and yes, a boy, and whatever they want with you. And so the fact that they don't have it and they're about to die not having it back the way it was, it drives them crazy. So they're itching in their trigger finger with that as well.
Yeah, I absolutely agree. So the thing is, yes, they absolutely are trying to make him out to be a victim. They keep talking about the scam. They want the fact that he was talking about saying that he was scammed to overshadow what he did. Now, here's the thing. Yeah, and here's the thing. So if he knew it was a scam, because he said it was a scam, right? That's what he told them. So he knew that this person calling him, asking him for this $12,000 for his nephew or whomever. So he had sense enough to know that was a scam. I want you all to pay attention because that comes into key, because they now have said that he has dementia. Isn't that what they said, Lisa?
Yes.
So they're saying that he has dementia. Now I want you to pay attention. So he has dementia, but he had the wherewithal, okay, the mental fortitude to know that he was being scammed. And here's another thing. If he knew for a fact it was a scam, like Lisa said, why didn't he call 911? Why would you sit there, okay, and then when someone comes, now you want to come out and take action? The first thing I would have done if I thought it was really a scam is I would have called the police. And then especially if I saw someone show up like they were coming to pick up something and I thought they were a part of it, and I'm an elderly person, I would have called the police and said, hey, I think the person's here that the scammer sent. Not go out there and confront them. And then if you're so fearful for your life, why are you chasing this woman around the vehicle? And why are you telling her you're not going to let her leave? And why are you taking her phone and preventing her from calling 911? Then he lies and calls and says that he shot the person because they were trying to rob him. That woman didn't ask him for anything. She didn't have a weapon at him. So what did she try to rob him of? She was having a conversation with him, telling him why she was there. He didn't give her a chance to do or say anything else, not to even leave. So I don't see how they even think they have a case. And the bottom line is, I don't care what this old man said. I don't care who was calling him, trying to scam him. That didn't have anything to do with him coming out there and doing what he did.
Right.
Hey, I was just noticing how comfortable he was talking to the police. I mean, he just standing up there. He got dementia, not really remembering what he did. But yet he can stand there and have this casual conversation with these officers as though he didn't just commit a crime.
Right. And the way they were engaging with him as well. And then so concerned, oh, you're bleeding on your ear. See, now, though, that likely came from the scuffle, because remember, they said there was a couple of scuffles. And then he, according to him, because he was the only one there, but that was alive to tell the story, basically. But he said there was a scuffle. They said there was a scuffle and he shot her 2 more times. I'm sure there was a scuffle because she was fighting for her life. I want you all to think about it. Isn't this the same scenario with Ahmaud Arbery almost? Remember how Ahmaud Arbery was fighting for his life and a weapon, and this person has a gun and is shooting him, and then they later say that Ahmaud Arbery attacked him. Do you all remember that part?
Yes,
They said
very
that
similar.
Trayvon Martin, but yeah,
Yes.
you know what, they
Yeah.
have done that on other occasions too.
Yes, and Trayvon Martin as well, like you
Right.
said, exactly.
So what they're essentially saying is Black people don't have the right to defend ourselves if we're in these situations.
And that's what I think that's what I said on your panel you had on TikTok, AJ, that they don't want us to be able to defend ourselves. And even if and even if they have stand your ground in the Castle Doctrine, well, that's for them to use, not us. That goes back to what Yusuf said about the Casual Killing Act. See, that's the same law. All they did was it just evolved a little bit, and they just switched it up and called it something different. But that's still what it is, the Casual Killing Act. That's exactly what it is, because they get to use that in defense of themselves, even if they're not defending themselves really. But they get to use that against us and then say, well, I fear for my life. Okay, I was defending myself. They get to use it, but we don't get to use it, because I can name several stories where a person of my skin tone defended themselves and stood their grounds and went to prison. So that's how that works. Okay.
Well, as they walking around, I'm sorry. Go ahead. Go ahead. I'm sorry.
Sir. Go ahead. No, I'm listening.
The thing that I was going to say is that as they trying to make him all frail and old, and he got dementia. I mean, she was barely walking herself to the door. She was weak and frail herself out there trying to work, trying to make some extra money, trying to take care of herself. I don't know if you all, I did a clip of a video, and this was a shock to me when I found it out. I don't know if you saw it, Dr. Shakur, where I talked about that slavery had not ended in Mississippi until 2013.
What?
To February 7th, 2013 was when slavery was addressed in Mississippi. It was abolished in Mississippi only in 2013. Look it up.
Wow, I did not know that. Let me write that down.
I believe
me too, because we'll be sharing that information. Thank you so much, AJ.
Yeah, look it up. And when I found that out, I was like, okay, so before 2013, what was going on? What was happening? That means that they could have pulled anybody off the street, put them on a plot of land, and worked them however way they wanted to work them, and it was a law. Because if they got the right governor in office, the right mayor in office, the right politicians in offices in office, they can keep secrets now in these deep southern states. Right. They don't have to tell us. They don't have to tell us anything. And these type of things are still going on. Like I said, we need to start checking the books and seeing what laws are on these books, especially in these southern states.
That's right. We sure
because
do.
they getting away with a whole lot of strange fruit on trees, if you know what I mean.
Exactly.
And that's why they snapped out down there at the riverfront, because it was that state. It's all states have that type of palpable evil, but to know that they just abolished that, and so they'll do everything they can, and we're all saying the right term: law. It all goes back to that, and it's so demonic when they arrive on the scene and instantly demonize the black victim, and they sort of feed the story based on the lie that the pale person is telling, surrounding in the confines of what's legal. So they're helping them and they're coaching them to what they need to say, and all of that. Oh, your ear, and oh, you remind me of my grandfather, and oh, the good old boys in the good old days. They're all sitting over there just in a demonic spirit at that crime scene. And interesting that they say about the scam. Interesting. The people who scam everything already got evil dominion, but they still scam. Lisa Cabrera, because we report on FBI statistics. When it comes down to the category of fraud and scams, white people lead in it consistently for decades. And so it's interesting that the people who scam the most, okay, finish the sentence.
Queen, I can't hear you. I see your mouth moving, but
no, I was talking to
you were talking to somebody else.
Yeah, that's why I muted it. So hold on for a second. You all keep talking. I need to check on something real quick.
Go ahead, Lisa. I'm sorry.
Well, you know, the thing is, we have seen too many examples of what happened to this woman, and the outcome is always the same. You know, you got the media out here acting as defense attorneys instead of just reporting the story. That's always the first problem I have, you know, because no matter whether we like the media or not, they do shape public opinion. They do. And we see what they're doing. Oh, well, he had dementia. Well, then I'm wondering, why is a man in a house alone with a gun and they got dementia? I mean,
Yeah. I think
make up every excuse.
anytime something like this happen as it relates to us as individuals, as a people, we have to always look at the bigger picture of what's going on. They only do those things because they feel like they can get away with it.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
It's that white superior. It's that, let me not say white. It's that superiority complex. You know what I mean?
That's what it is.
And so they do it because they said, well, you know, I'm gonna get away with this, you know. And there's a history of them getting away with it. And so as long as things keep playing out the way it's playing out, they're gonna keep doing what they're doing.
Yes.
The law, you know, there's various officers out here that are corrupt. They have not changed.
Oh yeah.
We are still losing our sons and our daughters to you know, corrupt individuals in the law enforcement.
Yes.
You know, and not only that I try to, you know, when I'm on my platform, and one thing I stress about you, as I just stated, you got to look at the bigger picture here, because I was doing a little research as it relates to the southern states, and I went back and took a look at the Civil War and all that went on in the Civil War, and I look at what's going on today, and I started thinking, you know, as I was comparing my notes, I want you to know that there's not much difference in what's going on now than what has went on during the time of the Civil War. The whole Confederacy. Now, and I know you all have heard them say this word. These are key words that I think we need to keep in mind when we hear YT people say this. Whenever you hear them say republic, when they're saying republic, they're speaking from the Confederate Constitution. You all may not know it, but there was a Confederate Constitution besides the United States Constitution. So whenever they say the word republic, they're really speaking of the South, the independent rights of the South that believe, this is what they believe. They believed that we were supposed to be and only be servants unto them. It was in their it was in their constitution, in the South Constitution, the Confederacy. They have that mentality. And when you hear them talk about the Bible, that was part of it too. Because in their constitution, they also talk about in God, you know, God is in control. Everything that we do, God is the foundation of it. Their God, I might add. Okay. I don't know their God. It's their God. You understand? And they come at us and they always talk about us that, you know, all you people ever talk about is slavery. All you people ever talk about is how we coming after you all and this, that, and the other. I said, well, stop doing what you're doing.
Exactly.
Stop doing what stop doing what you're doing to us, and we won't have nothing to talk about. First of all, give us our reparations. Let me stop. Let me shut my mouth. Let me shut up over here.
Yeah, absolutely right.
AJ, that the Democrats ain't no better either, because even with the uncivil war, it was the North wanting to get some of the rights too. Like the North wasn't non-racist, you know. So it's like it's the same thing when they say Democrat. It's just like wanting to be covert. You know, Republicans are overt and ahead of the game with the evil, and Democrats are behind and trying to keep it on the low. But at the end of the day, this demonic nation and the nationalism period needs to be revamped, because the foundation of this nation is that very slavery, is that very racism, and it's encoded in every fabric. And so to keep throwing it in your face and trying to program and reprogram you to submit to it and then to try to act like you're ripping the historical Band-Aid off when you call it out. See, they're used to us being on the crying side. You see what I'm saying? They're not used to revolutions in every home.
Right, but we have to stop looking at Republican and Democrat, and we have to look at policy and law.
The body.
It's not even about Democrat, Republican, Independent, whatever title you want to call yourself.
Right.
It's not even about that anymore. It's about what's on the books. What are you writing on the books? It's not even about what you're saying. It's the laws that you're passing and the policies that you are implementing in various states and communities. That's what matters. So I stopped looking at Democrat and Republican a long time ago. I watch and look at the policies. That's how I make my decisions, based on not only what you say, but what you support and what you back up. That's what I.
That's a good way to look at it. Now listen to this. So this is what was reported too a few days ago when they were talking about the shooter. Brock told the operator that he assumed the death threat scammer was working with Hall. Now I want you to pay attention, because he said death threat scammer. So he's literally trying to say that the person who was scamming him made death threats to him. Okay.
Yeah.
All the more reason to call 911.
I heard it was $10,000 involved. Where was it 12,000?
Mm-hmm.
Where they was telling him that unless he came up with $12,000, that they were gonna unalive his family. They were gonna come and take him out and do all of this, that, and the other.
Right.
But he said he spoke with a man. She didn't look like a man, by the way.
Right.
Exactly. And here's the thing: even if he had thought for a second that she came there to carry out something nefarious, when he saw that she didn't have anything on her, wasn't threatening to him anyway, he should have had sense enough to know better, because he obviously had sense enough to know it was a scam, because that's what he himself even called it, right? And so here's what it says. It says that the scammer told Brock that a relative had been incarcerated and ordered him to pay $12,000 to secure his release. Brock told the operator that he assumed the death threat scammer was working with Hall, who had been tricked by the scammer and could be heard in the call pleading for help after being shot. Now, investigators have reportedly tracked the scammer's call to Canada, but believe he made it using a burner phone. The driver had also been contacted by the same person or an accomplice, instructing her through the Uber app to pick up a package for delivery from Brock's home. Okay, so Hall, suffering from a medical condition and unarmed, made no threats or assaults toward Brock and made no demands other than to ask about the package she was sent to retrieve through the app, according to the sheriff's office. Due to there being no active threat presented by Ms. Hall at any time during the encounter, Mr. Brock's failure to contact the authorities for assistance while brandishing a firearm, during which he fired at and struck Ms. Hall multiple times, he was arrested and charged with murder. So at the end of the day, I hope he gets the same thing that Hannah Payne got, because I think she got a life sentence.
Yes, she did.
Mm-hmm. She sure did, and well deserved, as far as I'm concerned, because she had no business doing what she did either. But see, here's the problem. Some of these people who don't like people who look like us, they will absolutely deputize themselves, like I said days ago. And not only will they do it themselves, the police allow them to do it. If you all remember back when all the protesting and stuff was going on in 2020 with George Floyd, Ahmaud Arbery, Breonna Taylor, and then you saw some of these, the Proud Boys, Boogaloo Boys, and all of that showing up with weapons, like they're there to police the protesters. Isn't that what law enforcement is for? But the police allow them to deputize themselves. Okay, and they even have that in the laws, in the laws about militias and all that stuff. So they feel entitled and emboldened. That's why Hannah Payne felt like she could go up to that old man and just try to hold him there at gunpoint. And then when he didn't want to do what she said, she shot him. And she felt like she could do that. That's the same reason Kyle Rittenhouse, and yes, I said Rittenhouse, that's the same reason he thought he could go down there with his AR-15 and then sit there and intimidate the black folk. But then it just so happened to be the people who look like him that he ended up taking out. And that's because they were trying to take the weapon from him. But they made him the victim. And I find it also interesting. So this is what happens. And then here's the thing. I told you all, do you all remember how Kyle Rittenhouse had a video came out, and this video was done before the incident that he where he took those people's lives. But there was a video that was filmed at night. It was him and some of his friends, and there was two people running across the street, two black people, and you can hear Cal in the background saying, "Yeah, they're probably shoplifting. I wish I had my AR-15." So you could do what? Shoot them because you thought, didn't even know, and even if they were shoplifting,
right?
You're gonna take somebody's life for that. But so he already. That's why he went there.
Everything is punishable by death for us. Even when it comes to the cops, they reach for the lethal force automatically, you know? And it's like, for me, and I'm gonna keep this cute, but they're scamming us. You see, you're scamming us when you're scamming the sun. You're scamming us when you're out here and you're acting like you're so holier than thou when you're really evil. You're scamming us when we know what we saw and we know what we experienced and we know what someone from our community went through for the millionth time. But you're telling us that it's something else. Pee on my leg and tell me it's rain. Why don't you?
Yeah, because they're what the media is doing. The mainstream media at this point is they're trying to control the narrative. That's what they're doing. They're trying.
Well, they always do.
Yeah, absolutely.
They always do.
Part of it.
And not only that, you know, Rittenhouse, that's a good one, Dr. Shakur.
Thank you.
Rittenhouse got paid for the life of two people falling. He received. Can you imagine this? Now, if one of us went out here and unalive somebody, I doubt that we'll get paid for it. But they gave him $1 million. Now, of course, he went broke because he was too young to know what to do with it. But he was young, and they raised $1 million for this guy.
Yeah.
Not only did they raise $1 million for him, they also gave him an opportunity to go throughout the country and do speeches.
Yeah, he got picketed the other day.
Yeah, but nobody's paying him much attention right now. But in the beginning, you know, he was the main frame. He was the it factor. He was everything, and he received $1 million. So and it reminded me of the January 6th situations where they're trying to get these people out and different things like that. But you know what, Dr. Shakur, I'm gonna say this: we can't even get it cited when they lock folks up for unaliving us. You know why I say that? Because if you get the wrong people in office in various states in this country, they always find a way to get themselves off when it comes to various crimes. Yeah, they may do some time, but they're not going to do 20 and 30 years that a lot of BLK men have done that was innocent. You hear what I'm saying? You got BLK men that have done 15, 20, 30 years, 40 years in jail, and they were innocent. So even if these individuals have taken somebody's life, even if they did 7 to 10 years, would not amount to somebody doing 30 and 40 years and they were innocent.
Right. And you know, and a lot of times that's why I do the exoneration stories, because a lot of times they had the evidence to clear them 30 years ago.
Yes.
And they decide to hide and bury it. It's not just the cops burying evidence. You got the prosecutors doing it.
Kamala Harris.
Yeah, you know, you got people all throughout criminal justice that's hiding stuff just to get our people on board.
Right. Why aren't they going to jail? This is my thing. Why aren't there laws that implemented that if you arrest somebody falsely and they do 15 and 20 years in jail, you should be held accountable for that?
Yes.
Right. You should go to jail for that.
Yeah, I've been saying that for years.
Yeah, absolutely. You should.
How is it a prosecutor is busted for hiding evidence and they just get to go on and live their life?
Right.
Exactly.
They work together, y'all. That's why I said earlier.
And let's not forget how. Oh, go ahead, Yusuf.
Well, it was something that you said earlier, Queen, that I wanted to second that notion. Because when you said about how when they go out there and take up arms for themselves and the cops allow them to do so, it's because that they're all related. You know, we all know and oftentimes forget that it started off as regular citizens who wanted to be slave owners. They switched in the clan robes for the badges, yada, yada, yada. And so essentially all of the different racist systems that run independently of themselves, you don't even have to be racist to benefit from them. just work in them. It's like at the doctor and all the medical racism, just wear that uniform. The courts with the judge in the cop costume, just wear that and it will. Oh, the innocent white citizen. Oh, just regular plain clothes, you know, and so it all plays into, and they're all, the world is a stage. And last point, when it comes to the Klan rallies that they have every year in Stone Mountain, for example, every year there's a Klan rally. The same SWAT team is out there protecting them. That's why they don't mind, you know, because they protect each other. So yeah.
Yeah, and so let me also, the reason I said Kamala Harris, because if you remember, she was supposed to be so tough on crime and all of that. But this man who was innocent went to prison, wrongfully convicted, and they had the evidence that this man was innocent, mind you. He ended up getting out. I think he did like 5 years. This was a man who looked through my skin tone. And Kamala Harris's office, they fought the payments that he was supposed to get after he sued them and all of that. Another thing is, let's not forget how there were like 600 men of my skin tone who were sent to prison also, because, and then come to find out that the person who was doing the testing for the in the drug lab had tampered with evidence. And when Kamala found out about this, she didn't even want to do anything. When she was a prosecutor, she didn't want to do anything about it until a judge made her bring that woman up on charges. She was just going to let them sit there, and then they had to review all of those cases. So this is stuff we know, it always happens, and then nobody cares. And this is what I was saying. This is why what I was talking about, Yusuf, when we were talking prior to starting the live, when I was saying that if one of us does something and gets caught, you can best believe that we're going to prison. But if they do something to one of us, much of the time they get off and just get a slap on the wrist.
Yeah, and they get the black judge to do the dirty work, and then, you know, find them in the river as soon as they get some moral compass. Remember that lady they found in the river? She was a Supreme Court judge or something.
Yeah, I remember that.
Yeah, and it's like, but they sit there and have her be the face of all this unfair justice, like it's her running the system, and it wasn't even her power and authority. They just got her sitting there again in the costume doing their dirty work. As soon as she starts to get some integrity, she winds up missing. And so that's just how they do, you know. And black, I feel like we need, this is like a fantasy, but it's like we need a law of our own. We need a system of our own, and we can say that until we're blue in the face. But when would people put their wealth, assets, and interests behind that in our community?
That's just beating a dead horse. That's
I know, because the only system is the only one that's there. Or if we create a system, we couldn't dare create a system that could compete with theirs. I don't understand why not.
I can tell you why not, but honey, I don't have the time, because that's a whole nother story. But at the end of the day, go ahead, AJ. Did you have something to say?
Well, you know, it's clear, because every time we get a billionaire or somebody with some money.
Exactly. And that goes, and listen, I'm still trying to find out the name of this movie, because I was telling people the other day, there's a video clip of a movie from the 70s. And if anybody listening knows the name of this movie, please send it to me in my email so I can watch it in its entirety, because there's a video clip where there's a bunch of wealthy elite people sitting at a long table, and they have the little people who look like me, who are the maids and butlers, serving them food and drinks. And they're having this discussion about our people, and they're saying that they're going to allow some of them to get wealthy, have money and stuff, and to sit at the table with them, but they're not going to be on their level. But they're going to treat them nice and all that. And they're going to use them. I'm paraphrasing, but they're basically saying they're going to use them against the rest of us.
Are you talking about the butler? Are you talking about the butler?
No, that's that movie with Oprah. No, this is from the 70s.
I'm sorry, for the 70s.
Yeah,
I missed that part.
Yeah, this is old from the 70s.
Gotcha.
Yeah, they were sitting there, but the things that they were saying is exactly what you see them doing.
There it goes. Lady T got it. It's Uncle Tom. Goodbye, Uncle Tom.
Oh, is that it?
Yes.
Okay,
shout out to the Tea Lounge down there.
No. I've seen Goodbye. I saw Goodbye Uncle Tom. Somebody said, Queen Sam said it's called Trick Baby. Okay, thank you. That has to be it, because I've seen Goodbye Uncle Tom.
Okay, my bad.
Thank you, beloved.
Good thing I looked down.
Okay, thanks, Queen Sam. Yeah, Cherokee Descendant Dale said the name of the movie is called Goodbye Uncle Tom, or Goodbye Uncle Tom. Yeah. I saw that movie. I don't remember that from there, beloved. But I'll look at both of them. But I think it's that Trick Baby movie, because I never heard that title. But so yeah, so that's basically what they were talking about, and that goes back to what we were saying. Every time we what AJ was saying, every time we get somebody who looks like us who becomes a billionaire, well, we hear all this crazy stuff about them, okay? And they don't do anything for the community 9 times out of 10. I mean, they do a few things to make it look good, but at the end of the day, are they really actively doing anything to help the plight of their people? No, because
they can't. They can't.
That's right. They can't. They won't be in that position.
Well, they can't because you know, when you listen, we know who the power players are in this country. The power players are the power players. You know what I'm saying? And they only allow a select few of us to make it to that level.
That's right.
I mean, we can count them on our hands, right?
That's right.
And it's ironic that we can possibly have people that come from poverty, because a lot of them say they come from poverty. A lot of them say they come from the struggle. I was on the street. I had to sell this, that, and the other to make ends meet.
Sometimes they be lying.
You know, but you know what I'm saying.
Yeah, I know.
Y'all know what I'm saying. You know, they give these stories about how poor they was and the struggle, and now they are millionaires and billionaires. And of course, they move out of the neighborhood from which they came, rather than fix up the neighborhood where they can live in it. Because there's a way to get around that, you know. You can go into a neighborhood and clean it up and live in that neighborhood. But instead, they rather move out of the neighborhood and move on the other side of town, where they really probably prefer to be anyway, you know. But, I'm gonna go back to what my brother said as it relates to us being able to implement our own laws and to take care of ourselves and do for ourselves. I mean, do you all remember the Million Man March?
Yeah.
Yeah, I remember.
You remember? Okay, that was what, in the 90s or whatever. Let me tell you something. I didn't get an opportunity to go. I was a young man doing my thing, and I wasn't thinking about that. I thought about it, but I didn't think about it, and then I didn't have the money. But I was around individuals that did go, and I saw how excited they were about going to Washington, D.C. It was something that a lot of BLK men brag about. Can we say black on here? We got to say BLK, because I'm so used to the TikTok.
You can say black.
Okay, I'm so used to the TikTok. I'm so used to the TikTok quotas and stuff. Okay, so but it was so many black men that were excited about going to Washington. But I remember talking to one guy that I worked with on my job at that time, and what he said to me, because this is what he thought it was going to be. He thought that they were going to not only get a message, but he thought they were going to get help. That they was going to raise all this money, and they was going to distribute the money in various areas where the most poverty is within the black community, and they were going to go into those communities, create jobs, get McDonald's and buy various restaurants and build plazas and stuff. Not allow, instead of letting other cultures come in and buy and take, why can't we buy our own and fix up our own communities? We've been there, we've done that, we know how to do it. But this is what happened. My recollection of what happened is that there was some money raised. They raised a whole lot of money, and they gave a whole lot of sermons. But a lot of those men that went back home went back empty. And they did not feel the same way they felt when they went. They came one way and left another way. And nobody probably noticed it, but the crime went up in our communities and gang violence got worse. Think about it. I'm going to leave it there.
So they must have been all disappointed with each other.
I want you to think about it. Think about the year when those things happened, and think about the various things that took place in many of our communities after that Million Man March.
That's sad.
Yeah, I'm sure that was all by design. And we know, and here's the thing. A lot of the crime in our communities comes from things that is purposely done to cause a crime. We already know about how they put the drugs and stuff in there in the 80s that started the whole crack epidemic, but also
70s. 70s actually, Dr. Shakur, happened around
Yeah.
with the Black Panthers. The goal was in Chicago and LA. What it was, they was trying to disband the Panthers, and they was afraid of the Panthers because not only the Panthers were winning black folks, they were also winning white folks. White folks were believing in their cause. And they did not like the fact that we felt that we had a Second Amendment right as well to carry our guns, you know, and to stand, you know, and I mean, because they had all different types of programs that benefit the community. But it started with the Black Panthers. They had a deal. I don't want to, you know, I guess I don't want to give too much, but they had a deal with organized crime. Okay. The law in this land made a deal with organized crime. They found the most vulnerable within the communities, such as Chicago and LA. They found the most vulnerable, and they gave them the drugs to sell. And it started from there, and it spread it abroad. That's what happened.
Yeah, absolutely, absolutely. But I'm talking about when the crack epidemic really exploded between 85 and 90, and when what's that guy's name, Gary Webb.
Yeah.
You know, he turned up dead, of course. They claim he did it to himself, but
yeah, he shot himself twice in the head. I don't know.
Right.
I still don't know how
that
he did
even makes sense. Right. He did that book called Dark Alliance, putting the CIA on blast and all that, and the Iran-Contra stuff. But my point is, they are still doing these things allegedly, because I hear from people in Chicago, and I've been hearing this since 2018, where, you know, all of these shootings they have in Chicago on the weekends. And I remember a few years ago, there was like 72 people shot over the weekend, and in Chicago, so many people that they had to take them to all these different hospitals and didn't even have enough room and all of this stuff. And then they were saying, oh, it's gang violence. But then these people are saying, no, it's people dressed up, people who don't look like us, dressed up in derrick suits.
Yeah.
Okay. Dressed up in derrick suits. And then let's not forget how there was a guy who came out and said that did a video saying how they found a crate full of guns in an alley like 6 o'clock in the morning.
Several times.
Yeah. And these guns were not just regular guns. They were very exotic guns that you're not just going to find in a regular gun store. Not to mention someone else who's dropping these guns off. And then he said everybody in the neighborhood is walking around with guns, even 14-year-olds. And then somebody found a what do you call it? A rocket launcher. They found one of those in the Chicago neighborhood, but now they turned it in. And when they turned it in to the police at the station, they told them that basically some of the officers must have dropped it off of the back of an SUV. So how wasn't it secured? The SUV wasn't closed all the way, and if y'all didn't notice that it fell off. So just a whole bunch of BS. But this stuff is all by design.
Yes.
And
and let me just add one more thing. I had a cousin that lived in Chicago. He was an actor and he worked on their Broadway there. And he said there are cameras everywhere when you go to Chicago. But every time these shootings happen, all of a sudden something happens to the cameras.
Right.
Okay, so you don't see anybody coming in there or leaving the neighborhood.
Exactly.
But the cameras are he was telling me you can't go anywhere in Chicago and not look up and see a camera.
And I believe it, because let's not forget when Justice Smollett made up that story about being attacked and all that stuff, they had the camera recorded, remember? On the street from that night. So exactly. So how is the cameras conveniently not working when these things happen? And here's the thing. These gang shootings or whatever, when they occur, okay, yeah, there may be a few people shot, but I'm talking about 70-something people shot in one night. That is a mass shooting.
Well,
that's a mass shooting.
Well, Dr. Shakur, I have to also say that I think, you know, that a lot of these people are paid. I know y'all heard about the shoplifting thing that they had going around, where they were actually paying people to go in these stores and snatch and grab.
Oh no, I didn't know they were paying them. I didn't know people.
That was a group. It was organized. There, of course, there were some Caucasians that were behind it. They would get these young black men, and they would pay them. They would pay them, and they would get them all in groups and get so many of them, 20 or 15 of them, and they would pay them to go into these various places and shop and grab, and they would take the merchandise back to them, and they would resell the merchandise on various platforms like Amazon and other places. They
Oh,
would
wait
sell
a
them.
second.
Yeah. You've heard. I know you've heard about it.
Well,
I know you heard about it.
I heard about this Karen who was doing it online, and she had people working for her, and she
Yeah.
had people doing that, and she was selling that stuff online, made over $1 million.
Yeah. That's her and her husband actually.
Wow.
So they were doing that, and so they were paying them to do that. Because listen, we live in a system where a lot of our young men, and I say primarily, mostly our young men, are not, making the kind of money that it takes to survive in this country in this day and time. They barely can pay their rent, and you have a lot of parents, their tolerance is very low.
Right.
They kicking them out on the street, and they trying to make it, and it's easy. They're very vulnerable, and it's easy for somebody to come up and say, "Hey, look, I give you $500. I give you $1,000 if you do this or if you do that." You know what I'm saying? I'm not trying to make excuses for it, but I'm just trying. This is the climate that we're living in today as it relates to what's happening. But it's repeated history.
Yeah, absolutely.
As we've been talking. And we all the things that we've talked about is all about repeated history. But the key is what are the solutions? What is it that we need to do? We've been Black folks have always talked about our problem. That's something we do often, but we never seem to come up with solutions because we have quite a few pip daddies on the left side. They make their money, and they say they represent us, and all these activists that we never voted for. You know what I'm saying? The people that get up on national TV and say, I represent the Black folks, and I ain't never seen them a day in my life.
Exactly.
Never met them, never talked to them.
I definitely want to respond to because I definitely agree with that. And it's like history keeps repeating itself because I think it's a lot of things, because like as the eras change for us, one thing remains. Well, two things remain. It's the common denominator of the white supremacists and racial terrorism being more refined and sophisticated, and with a sense and a spirit of powerlessness and hopelessness in our community. I mean, my people, I tell you this from a space of love. We have to stop, and I don't know how to say it, and it's hard, easier said than done, but stop being so hopeless when it comes down to everything. Because when people do offer solutions, might not have all the resources to do it and could use the community efforts or to possibly inspire the person who could. And, we all could do something. A lot of people, I find, debate the solutions, debunk the solutions, and they come from a spirit of fear when it comes to creative solutions as well. Afraid to compete with the status quo, afraid to be seen as racist, afraid to be, and it's sad because, yes, we're divided, but that's the point, divided and conquered. So if you know that, then something to decolonize yourselves. And like people would do stuff, and like when we make certain assessments of the community, and people will say, oh, well, we're brainwashed, and they be making their argument of their ignorance, and their excuse is we're brainwashed.
Well, we are brainwashed.
I know, but if you know that, if someone telling me they're brainwashed, they're not asleep no more. You see, because once you know you're brainwashed, that's a level of consciousness that now it's a responsibility on you to do what you can to get from underneath of that mental warfare.
Well, here's the thing. The people talking about brainwashed aren't the ones that are actually brainwashed. When they say we're brainwashed, they're not including themselves. Because I say that too. And I'm not talking about myself because I'm clearly not brainwashed. They're talking about our people collectively. And that's the facts. They are. People are brainwashed and also complicit and complacent. Some people, fear change. Some people fear lashing out or whatever, doing the appropriate things. But at the bottom line is whatever we do and however we do it, what we don't need to do anymore ever, as far as I'm concerned, is discuss it on public platforms.
Right.
That's what I have learned to stop doing. That's what I have learned to stop doing, because when the Black Panther Party used to meet and have solutions, they discuss it in private. Now everybody gets online. We hop online and we start offering solutions and all this. You don't think they're listening? Of course they are. So they know what you're going to do before you even do it. And so then that's when you get these people who are infiltrators coming and acting like they're working with us and they're working against you. That's where you get these people that are sent to start a movement like Grandmaster Jay.
Right.
I'm sorry for those of you who still think that he was actually a whole revolutionary here to save us. He wasn't. He was a fraud. But anyway, I digress. But when you get people like him who don't infiltrate, but they literally start the movement, and then you have other people who are hopeful and who want to make change joining him, only to find out that it's a whole scam funded by people like George Soros, allegedly, or the government, allegedly. Okay, so that's how that happens, and that's why you should not be discussing. We should no longer discuss our solutions on public panels and forums. We should have some way to communicate amongst ourselves and talk about what we're going to do and how we're going to do it. That's how that should go, because that's what they do when they were making all the plans.
Right.
About January the 6th and every other thing else that they do. When they were talking about kidnapping Governor Gretchen Whitmer and trying her for treason and all that, when she was, they were mad at her and all that stuff. They weren't talking about that publicly on broadcast. They were making their plans behind people's backs. And so that's the same thing that we have to do. We have to figure out what we're going to do. But the main thing that I will say this publicly, that our people are always going to be left in the dust as long as we are not unified. And they've already let us know that that's the biggest problem for them. J. Edgar Hoover said it. What he said, the biggest threat to the U.S. security or to the United States is Negro unity. So that's the main thing. And we can say that because if we unify, that's the main thing right there, because divide and conquer. Okay, at the end of the day. Now, Lisa, you have anything to say, beloved? I'm gonna wrap this up in a few.
Yeah, I partially agree with that.
Mm-hmm.
But they do put their stuff out on Front Street. When you see them doing those mass killings, there's always some manifesto online. And it's amazing. We can say some of the most minor thing.
Mm-hmm.
You get a strike or your channel will come down, and you'll come to find out that manifesto has been online for years.
Now, that's true. They do put those on 4chan. They absolutely put those on 4chan.
And Reddit.
Yeah.
Yes.
Mm-hmm. They sure do. And they'll be very detailed too, by the way.
And a template for them too.
Mm-hmm.
To edit.
Yeah.
What was it? Peyton Gendron had one. I think it was like 18 pages long.
Yeah. And the guy that did the what was that guy's name? Not Cruz, but that was the Parkland shooter. But the guy that did the El Paso shooting, because I read his on a Facebook Live. You all know the guy from El Paso that drove to El Paso.
Yeah, we remember. We just don't remember their names because it's 100 of them. It's too many.
Exactly.
Yeah.
Exactly. He had his on 4chan also. Yeah, so that's true. They do have these manifestos and stuff like that.
Yeah.
But this is the thing, though. When they're doing that stuff, it's usually one of them. You know what I'm saying? But I'm talking about when they collectively get together, like these groups, the Oath Keepers. Some of the time they sit there and plot and plan their stuff. I remember telling people.
Some of them do, but if you remember, what's that Proud Boy leader?
Enrique Tarrio.
That's how he got busted. He did a lot of stuff online.
Yeah, that's how he got 20-some years, didn't he? Like 20.
Yes, he sure did.
As he should have. And the thing about him is he's Afro-Cuban. I find that very interesting. Okay?
Isn't that?
Mm-hmm.
Came over here and othered himself.
Right. And look where he's at now. Let me tell you something.
He said he's a changed man. He don't believe in all that stuff anymore. I said, isn't it funny? You weren't willing to change until you got locked up, huh?
Yeah. Isn't that something?
Crazy.
And you know what it is though, Lisa? At the end of the day, he got all that time. So he's only how do I want to say it? He's biracial or a mixed ethnicity. Okay. So he had some black in it with his silly self. Now see how that looks forward. I bet you if Trump was to get back in office, Trump will let a whole bunch of those people who got convictions for that. He'll let a bunch of them out, and he probably won't be one of them.
Mm-hmm.
Okay.
Oh no, he'll leave his butt right on in there.
Exactly.
Queen, what do you think about panel? What do y'all think about the threats from Trump about the bloodbath?
I think Trump is full of it. I don't think Trump is gonna. If he lose, no, I don't think the country is going to turn into a bloodbath.
No, nobody's thinking about Trump. And then they tried to come back and say that, he wasn't talking about that. He's talking about economy and all this. Well, say that. Yeah, we know he was throwing a dog whistle. Hold on, let me say this before you all get out of here. This is totally off topic. But did you all hear about the Boeing 787 they had to do an emergency landing?
Queen, which one?
Something about it.
No, this happened yesterday. Did you all hear about
Okay,
that?
no.
No,
I did not hear
didn't
the
hear
full
that.
story, but I did hear, that had
Me
happened.
either. But I know there were several.
I find that very interesting because they're just proving the whistleblower correct.
In the past couple months, it's been several Boeing issues, and not just Boeing planes. Whole bunch of different planes falling out of the sky. A wing wasn't on right. Using recycled and throwing away parts out of the trash. Not wanting to wait for the new order to come in.
Well, I won't be get. I won't be getting on a plane.
Yeah, I don't use the trouble on the plane.
I won't be getting on a plane.
Right. I'm specifically talking about Boeing though, because of the whistleblower. Lisa, have you heard anything else about the whistleblower?
No.
Or about his death or anything?
No,
Yeah,
I kind of vaguely heard about it, but I did not look, I did not give a detailed look into it.
Mm-hmm.
But I did hear about it.
Yeah, it's all crazy. Well, I'm gonna go ahead and if you all haven't, you want to give your handles, like your information where people can follow you, YouTube, TikTok, or whatever, Instagram, or any of that information. Please feel free to go ahead. We'll start with Lisa, and then AJ, and then Yusuf.
Well, all of you should know my name. All you gotta do is type in my name, you'll find me.
My followers already follow you anyway, Lisa. Okay, so AJ is a friend of mine that I met on TikTok, and he goes live on TikTok on Thursdays. And tell him what other date you go live, because I usually catch you on Thursdays, AJ.
Dr. Shakur, you put me on the spot because I go when I feel like it, when I don't.
Okay, yeah. Right.
But I'm on TikTok. AJ Copeland's Life Topics is a podcast. Would give you a little feel of old school radio. That's what I try to give a taste of. I talk about life and the experiences, primarily in politics, and I do some news as it relates to whatever people have to deal with, especially with what the mainstream media don't tell us. So I try to put it out there, and I also do a little history. I try to educate us as well. I think it's very important that we are educated in some areas. That's how I do a lot of research studying to make sure that I give the right information. And that's how I found out about the slavery of February the 7th, 2013 was not, abolished in Mississippi until that time. So you guys can join me at TikTok. You can also join me on YouTube, Live Topics or Topics to Go, any one of those platforms. You can reach me over there because we don't know what's going on with TikTok. So if we lose TikTok, that's where I'll be. YouTube, Live Topics, and Topics to Go.
All right. Well, thank you, beloved. Okay, go ahead, Yusuf. Tell them your new channel.
Yes. Celebrity and Crime Intergalactic News Galaxy Broadcasting System. Thank you.
That is the longest name. Hold on. Yusuf, that is the longest darn name for any. Hold on. Let me try to say it. Celebrity and Crime Intergalactic News Galaxy.
And broadcasting system.
And broadcasting system.
That's right.
That's a lot going on there. We ain't mad at you. We ain't mad at you, brother. We ain't mad at you.
This is all nefarious. Now you know good and well. How is anybody ever going to remember the name of it?
I got the first two. We just break it up in pieces. You get a piece and I get a piece and everybody gets a piece.
Sorry, y'all.
I mean, darn, he should just abbreviate that. That is hilarious to me. Okay, but so anyway. Thank you, Yusuf. All right, I want to thank everybody for attending the panel. I appreciate you all. We're going to do this again soon. And you all already know where to find me. And let me just tell you all something. I went to get my taxes done the other day, and so I dropped my stuff off and came back the next day to pick it up. And the guy in there said, "Hey," he said, "there was a lady in here yesterday when you came in," and I knew who he was talking to because the lady came up to me and she spoke, and she was like, "Oh, I just love your work on TikTok," and I was like, "Thank you." So he tells me the next day when I come back, he says, "There was a lady in here yesterday." And he was like, after you left, she told me and my wife, she's like, "Hey, do y'all know that lady? She's famous. She has over 100,000 followers on TikTok."
You're famous, Dr. Shakur. You're famous.
I said not famous.
You're a celebrity now. You're a celebrity.
Please, I wish. And then he was like, she showed them my TikTok. He was like, how did you get over 100,000? I was like, just from putting out good content, but it's people that have way more followers than that.
Oh yeah, they got millions, 400,000 on there. Yeah,
exactly. Yeah. And I'm actually shadow banned on TikTok, but nonetheless, I still got over 100,000. But I just thought that was hilarious. So anyway, I want to thank you all for being on the panel. I appreciate you all and everything you had to say. And I want to thank you all for tuning in, Loyal Royals. Okay, please be sure to like and share this video, subscribe to the channel if you haven't done so already. And also don't forget to double check and make sure that you're still subscribed to the channel, especially if you have not been receiving your notifications, because you all know how it goes out here in the ScrewTube streets. People will get unsubscribed. Okay, so with that all being said, I will see you all hopefully in the next broadcast. Until then, beloveds, each one teach one. That's how we grow and thrive. Do something productive, constructive, but never destructive. And always remember, beloveds, to keep the Most High first in your lives. Peace.
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 Gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you're done. They show no love for the queen. Why you hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans? I got dreams like King Luther, shed blood like Kunsa. You ain't helping my people, I ain't got nothing to say to ya. I want all the smoke like hookah. Talking reparations, America won't be great until they give us compensation. I'm like, I'm the hottest right now. See a bunch of lames out here trying to jock on my style. They be doing too much. I'm the queen, it's too easy. It's like they all at Popeyes, how they be talking so greasy. I just sit back and laugh while these haters get madder. So nefarious how they don't want my pockets with cheddar. I tell them they can do better. These snakes in the grass can leave a bite on your ass, cause y'all be trusting too fast. I got my foot on the gas, other one on they necks. Dropping receipts on haters, you better show some respect. I'm never facing regrets, we only facing the threats. Running through every challenge like a relay, break no sweat. It's a cold game, so I got that blanket with me. Now that my people awaken, ain't no going to sleep. I do not play by my piece. This time I'm playing for keeps. You talking slick, but when I see you like them ends, we gon' meet. And I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got gold all in my skin, God all in my blood, kings all in my circle. You touch one of mine and you done. They show no love for the queen. Why they hating on me? Is it cause I'm free and I got Malcolm X in my jeans and I got